There's some weird noises, but that's okay. Ladies and gentlemen, girls and boys, and assembled company, welcome to the World Storytelling Cafe. Tonight is our fantastic young tellers. At the moment, it's young teller. It's a port, but we're not quite ready for it yet because we're sitting in our cafe in Marrakesh, which is an amazing vegan cafe, which is full of storytellers, the Story Cafe. And I haven't got the address in front of me, but I'm sure Mike can tell it when he's there. And but it's near the Photography Museum, and it's opposite Coffee Ponduc, and it's easy to find. As easy as anywhere in a souk to find, which is almost impossible. But what we got coming up Friday? We've got Sarah Lloyd Winder, and a fantastic storyteller for storytelling stories for children. Next, the following Tuesday, of course, every Tuesday we have a young international tellers under 25. The following Friday week, we're coming live from Cambridge Folk Festival if the technology works out, so there'll be several tellers. And if Mike can just tell me when he's ready, because I can't see a thing because I'm working from a tablet at the moment, that'd be fantastic. We're waiting. You know those bits where the audience has got held up because the tubes were late or the train's late. We're in that kind of situation. We're waiting for them to burst through the doors, and so there can be thousands watching, or at least a cafe full. So I'm keeping it going. Pulver has got.
Okay, John, we're good to go. Good to go.
Fantastic. So I am going to announce all the way from India. We have the amazing, the fantastic, the phenomenal, the imagination that stretches across the globe. Pulver, take it away, Pulver.
Hello. So, do you hear that knock? Do you hear that knock?
Yes.
Yep, that's the story knocking in my heart. And the story just told me that you need not worry of knowing me because I know you. So just go ahead. And I said, okay. So this is the story of how I found this magical, real place of storytelling. And this world of storytelling found me. So this goes back to the time when there was no pandemic. I was sitting in my college. There was no Zoom. And yes, still there was technology in 2018. So when my teacher was projecting a story in a class, I thought, what is storytelling a thing? Isn't it just what my mother used to do? Just what we do at home. But it's a thing. Like storytelling is a thing. And in my classroom in college, like my teacher is projecting this story by this amazing African storyteller called Bongiswa. And she's singing, and this wall appears so magical to me when she sings. There goes a bluebird, sha-la-la-la. There goes a bluebird, sha-la-la-la. Give me sugar, coffee, and tea. Give me sugar, coffee, and tea. And then she goes. So whenever you hear the word bluebird, you all go, sha-la-la-la. And because we're just watching in a classroom and everyone is just sitting and listening, no one really goes, sha-la-la-la, but me. So I go, There she says, there goes the bluebird. I go, sha-la-la-la. And everyone around me looks at me. But I don't care. Because the bird goes, sha-la-la-la. And gradually, like everyone started to join in. And that day was magical. I never wanted to miss a class. And that was magical too. I wanted to stay in that classroom, listen to the stories, know more about storytelling. But then one day what happened was that another professor of mine tells me that, do you know there's this festival going on and they need volunteers. So maybe if you would want to go and just volunteer. And I say, great, I'll just go and volunteer because I would want to listen to more stories. And I go and volunteer. And two of my classmates too go with me. And there are thousands of storytellers from all over the world in this amazing festival that goes in Delhi, India, that's called Buckaroo. And Buckaroo has these amazing storytellers coming from all over the world. And we were just running from one place to the other so that we can get the equipment, we can get the props, we can just make more, things easier for them. And then I was rushing through here and one of my friends was rushing through there and we meet. And she says, look, there goes the bluebird, cha-la-la-la. There goes the bluebird, cha-la-la-la. I said, what? She says, she's the one, she's the storyteller we saw in our classroom. And we go, whoa. We were starstruck. And I thought that I had to go to her session. I had to listen to that in person. I had to see that. But I was going the other way. So I missed it there. And I thought, oh, where's the magic in the world now? Where did it go? I thought reality was magic. So then I go back home and go to another magical place that we call Facebook. And I search Bongiswa Kota Rameshwana. I know she's like come all the way from Africa and she won't go away after a 20-minute session. She might do something or the other. So I searched her on Facebook and I found that yes, she's doing a workshop. And I said, yes, magic is real. So I'm going to go to that workshop. I wrote an email to the people who were organizing. And I was so happy that, okay, I'm going to go to the workshop. And this is the thing, like, I'm so thankful that I wasn't able to just see her. But because of that, I'm going to now be in a workshop and learn there. So then the people who were organizing the Gatha company, they write me back and say that, well, it's a paid workshop. I said, okay, but I'm a student. I don't have money. And they say, yes, but they tell me the amount that it's 7,000 rupees. And I go, oh, I don't have that kind of money. And a lot of my classmates would want to join in. So I wrote back again that please consider our case. We want to attend this. Please consider our case. And then they said, because storytellers are magical. So they said, okay, yes, we can reduce the amount. And we say, yeah, magic is real again. And they did reduce it for us. And I went in the workshop. And as I entered the room, there she was, in all her glory. And she was going, there goes the bluebird, sha-la-la-la. There goes the bluebird, sha-la-la-la. Give me sugar, coffee, and tea. Give me sugar, coffee, and tea. Dance around the ocean, sha-la-la-la. Dance around the ocean, sha-la-la-la. Give me sugar, coffee, and tea. Give me sugar, coffee, and tea. And oh my heart, I was grounded. I was there. I was happy to just be there and learn and see. And then she had all these wonderful instruments lined up, and she asks us to go and pick one and just tell a story there. And I picked up the rain stick. And the rain stick goes, shh, shh. And the rain stick spoke to me. And it was as if the spirit of a storyteller entered my body somehow. And I just remember the feeling of doing that there. And just as I walked back and sat down, everyone goes, wow. And I took a deep breath. And I was just happy to be there. So then it was coming to an end, the workshop. Everyone was going back home. And I was just happy that I had this amazing experience of being there. And then as I was walking towards the door, one member from the organizing team, Seema Vahi Mukherjee, she walks up to me and she says, hey, wait, do you want to do this? I said, what? She said, this. Do you want to do storytelling? And I said, oh, magic is real. A tear ran down my cheek. I still remember. I said, yes. And there were more tears and more and more. And it was as if I became a river. And then all of the people there and all of the storytellers there came around me and they huddled. And it was like I found my tribe. And my tribe found me. Then she mentored me for this outreach program in Delhi by Jaipur Literature Festival. And I did my first storytelling ever with her. And I was so proud and so happy. And they were like, we weaved in things and all of the music and a lot of movement, and then I felt alive. It was then when I found myself. And here I am telling you the story of how I found my story.
I'm on mute. No, that's it. Ah, that was fantastic, Paul. But now, because I'm only on this tablet and I can't see what on earth is happening, I can see you, I can see a few people, but I don't know, are there any other young tellers with us at the moment? We have an iPhone with us, and I'm not sure if that's a young teller or not. Sometimes people join us on iPhones and I have the faintest idea who they are. iPhone, are you a young teller? Ah. Well,
John,
I don't. Yes.
while we're waiting, could we speak to Apurva and say thank you?
Of course you can.
Can you hear us okay?
Yeah, we can hear you.
Great. Well, that was really amazing. What can I ask? Where are you in India?
I'm in New Delhi.
New Delhi. Fantastic. Wonderful. Anybody want to say hello?
Hi.
So your audience today is in Marrakesh and in USA and UK and I'm just looking all places all over the world. Anyway, welcome.
Mike, do any of your visitors want to tell us a story? Or any under 25 and want a story?
Story? I don't have a story to tell.
Is it?
Is the mic on?
Yeah. Yeah. A real
I was just gonna say we're from America. We're on a trip to Morocco, and we're so glad you could stop in and see us today. It's a really special opportunity. So thank you for having us.
Mike is a wonderful host. You're in great hands. Mike is a wonderful host. I didn't want to leave, but Mike told me you don't have to go home, but you got to get out of here. No, he didn't do that. He didn't do that.
But you had to promise to come back, Baba. That was the thing.
Oh, you know I am. Oh, Apuva, your story on how you became a storyteller, your story about your first story is a story indeed. I approve of your story.
Phil, would you like to say something to Apuva?
I can have the great feelings for that. I can remember being on a workshop with Jackie Ross and getting that exact same feeling when she got to the bit where we could sit and work a story and everything herself. It's an amazing feeling when a story just jumps at you out of something totally different and away you go. It's such a great feeling. Never lose it.
Ever.
And who's left? Mike in Reading, or Caversham Storyteller, Mike Faxey. You've changed your moniker.
I've been chopping and changing. Yeah, it was a great story, and I loved the sort of the inspiration in it. And I hoped it would inspire some of the visitors at the cafe to perhaps tell one of their stories. Because this is a great place for sharing stories, but Apuva's was a brilliant.
Right.
I
have a feeling one of the people in the World Storytelling Cafe probably is going to tell us a story. I just saw a few faces that looked like they were considering it. Am I right?
No pressure.
Okay.
Being in the Story Cafe, in the Storytelling Cafe is a story in itself. But it looks like they're more cafe today than they are storytelling.
We'd love to hear the story of
the story of the cafe.
Yeah.
Shall I tell the story of the cafe, or would you like to tell that, John?
Well, Mike, it is your project. I
think Lucy, would you like to tell the story of the cafe?
Okay. All right. I can't put the I might get interrupted by dogs or people, but yeah, I can start. I'll try not to make it too long. I'm just trying to see, what are you eating there? Yeah, so is that tasty?
Yes, it is. It's very refreshing.
Good. Umaym is a great chef.
We have 42 degrees in Marrakesh at the moment.
Yeah. Actually, maybe we should get Umayma if she wants to. She's become a storyteller. Do you think she might like to come and tell a story?
Actually, Kamal. Is Kamal here? Yeah. Okay. So after Lucy, Kamal can tell a story.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll give you the.
It's quite I think tonight, as we are short of young tellers, we can break protocol for this one occasion.
Yeah.
Paul it just inspired us all. So carry on, Lucy.
Well, I'll just say I loved the way that you used your whole body to express yourself, and it everything you said was just so full of authenticity. It kind of brought everybody along, I think. And, we were all rooting for you and wanting to discover, are you going to become a storyteller? And is this your passion? So I think you embody a storyteller. You're not just sort of using the words and the sentences and the ideas. Your whole body, your whole being is saying, I am a storyteller. And so I loved loved watching you. You've got a beautiful face, and you just come alive when when you're showing your enthusiasm. It's just so lovely to see that aliveness and warmth in your eyes. So I look forward to hearing many more stories from you in the future. I hope. So just to tell you the origins of the Storytelling Cafe. So it's a love story, really. I'll embarrass Mike with this, but for many years I've been very passionate about the power of stories to help us to heal and to help change society in a positive direction for groups that have traditionally not been very well represented. So women or people who have some form of disability, or the elderly. And so I've used stories in my therapy. It's called narrative therapy, where you talk to somebody about where you hear what their story is. And if their story has got hints of victimhood or hints of hopelessness, then the challenge is to find those aspects and to help the person themselves to change that story into a hopeful and into a strong, courageous story. So becoming the heroine or the hero of your story rather than the victim. And I think I know that I've fallen into this many times, and still do, that if something goes wrong in your life, it's very easy to say, oh, they shouldn't have done that, or oh, it shouldn't be so hot, or oh, COVID is just awful. And to start, even though those things may be true, to start thinking of ourselves in the framework of being a victim. And that I've learned that being a victim is a really powerless thing. It's giving your power away. And it's very important, in my opinion, for us to reclaim our power at every possible opportunity. And so that's why I'm passionate about stories, and particularly those stories that allow us to hear how we can change our lives to be the courageous heroine or hero, and not the victim. So anyway, during COVID, just before COVID, we decided to start building this storytelling cafe. And then COVID struck, and so we had to stop completely. And I was really disappointed. And pretty soon after that, my husband, who's a complete football fanatic, he didn't actually get COVID, but he was exposed to COVID. And so the advice at the time was that he should disappear for 2 weeks and not mix with me and the rest of the family. So we packed him off to a little house in the garden. And I started having these slightly victim thoughts of, oh, he's just being lazy watching football on the television while I'm doing lots of important work, looking after the family and sorting things out. And anyway, after 2 weeks, he emerged, and he had built, with the help of John Rowe and lots of other people, he had built the World Storytelling Cafe online, and he presented it to me as a gift. And I was totally shocked and felt slightly embarrassed that I'd been thinking negative thoughts about him just going on the TV, watching Leicester City playing Arsenal or Chelsea or one of these football teams. Oh, you're a supporter, are you, Kamal? So anyway, he did this not because it was a particular passion of his at the time, though I think it has become a passion, but because he knew it was my passion. So I think that's the definition of somebody who's very selfless and kind. And it's what I've always thought, maybe haven't always put it in practice, but I've always thought that's what a relationship is for. That's what a marriage is for championing each other's dreams. And that to me was an example of where my husband really championed my dream. And so I've completely missed out John Rowe. Without John Rowe, the website and the cafe would never have been able to be created. So John is in the UK is a master storyteller, and he's the sort of person, he's not at all selfish. He just thinks about other people all the time, and he's always because of that, everybody loves him. And so he knows all the storytellers, not just in the UK but internationally. He knows so many. And so because of him, he's been able to connect, and everybody who meets him just wants to have more of him and, you know, stay connected with him. So because of him, we had a huge connection of storytellers. And then we put on the festival in February, which really put us on the map. So anyway, that's the long version. I said I was going to do the short version, but anyway, that's the long version of the story. Do you want to add anything, John or Mike?
I think you've about covered. You've made both Mike and I embarrassed, and but it's and of course then what you have missed out is the cafe itself after it opened. It opened at the festival,
Yeah.
But then it's been a bit, you know, it's finding the right people to run it. And Amema who you can't see because she's pre-producing all this food most likely, you know, and Kamal and people, and both are telling stories. And Kamal, I think I mean, what's been wonderful is that it's a place where people actually come and listen to stories and share stories, and that's what we want. And so any traveling storyteller that happens to be passing through Marrakesh, you know, if they sort of tell stories for 24 hours in the cafe and probably 26 hours in the cafe, Kamal might feed them, and Amoma might feed them, and they might even get a bed for the night if they, providing they work 28 hours a day, and on stories.
Can you hear me, John? Could
Yeah.
I, if you don't mind interrupting, should we let Kamal explain how he got involved in the project? And also,
I was moving to Kamal next.
Great.
So Kamal, now your journey is incredibly interesting, and maybe you can explain how you got into this project.
Yeah. Okay. A big hello.
You actually need to be a bit. You're hardly on camera at the moment.
No.
That kind of works.
Maybe Ali can move the camera. I don't know.
While they're working that out, Lucy,
Okay,
what a wonderful, loving story. Mike, you got bonus points. I mean, bonus.
Okay, that's good. That's good. The camera's good. Who do we lose? We lost. Yeah. Anyway, Kamal, you're brilliant. Okay.
Oh, that's good.
Really, that's good. We like that. Okay, Kamal, tell us your story.
Okay.
How you got to be here?
No.
Well, not from birth, but you know, I mean, the last.
No. I just looking for for words to obviously to mention my speech with you. So before sharing my story, I want to share, as Mr. John said, about this experience at Storytelling Cafe. So it was very rich and deep because I had accumulated many experience, many relationships with people. I shared many stories with them, and that enabled me to feel happy and also to add many things in my life, in my life's stories. All right, so which is a good experience because I know because there is a cafe which is the Clock Cafe in Casablanca. This cafe had the same concept, which is sharing and performing stories. And Hina Cafe is the place where I can say I spent my whole life. Hina Cafe to make everyone know, is an educational center for teaching people languages, and it's I guess a good initiative for volunteering and helping needy people in general. So until now, I'm so satisfied. I'm so pleased. So that's what I can say, because if I can talk about this topic, I can't end in that, because as you know, inside the story, there are many other stories. So the short story, a short story is a story never come yet. So let's start. My story of today, I have two stories, short stories. First one is the story of the master of stories in Arabic traditional culture, the gentleman, the master, Mr. Juha. Do you know Juha? Yeah. All right. So once upon a time, Juha was invited by king, and he was so glad to be with ministers, with presidents, with folks, with many people. But the problem is Juha, I guess, was going to the direction to the palace to, I guess, to join the ceremony. But the problem was with his clothes. He was wearing bad and old clothes, shabby clothes, and the Gordians prevented him to come in. And he returned back home, and he was thinking about a tricky way to get revenge from the Gordians, because, you know, prevented. After that, he changed all his clothes. He found the new clothes, because Juha is not that kind of person wearing new clothes, because he is so simple, and he's spontaneous, and he likes always to live simply. And he, he wore new clothes. He went to the palace, and the same guardians not stopped him this time, because he changed all his clothes. And he entered. Everyone, everyone was greeted Mr. Juha, because he is famous and well-known person. And the ceremony started. Everything was amazing. Everyone was dancing. The whole party was extraordinary, until a changed event. That time when they started, giving and offering some food to invite people, and everyone was eating and enjoying the salad, the mojito, the salad fruits, everything, the food, the chicken, couscous, pumpkin, etc. And
was it vegan? Was it?
It's vegan also. We support vegan. Yeah, I support vegan food. Okay. So at that time, Juha was the only one, didn't eat nothing. Why? Because something had inside his memory. What was? So we are going to discover it. So some guardians of the king stared at that and went to inform the king about this. And the king came to Juha and asked him, why Juha don't eat your food? Juha said, I'm deeply sorry, king. I didn't eat anything because I'm not invited to this party, because I can say my sleeves or my clothes. Why? Because this is the question mark. Because while people were eating, Juha was pigeon and putting his clothes, his sleeves, and put it over the broth, the salad, everything, and everyone was staring. So the story ended with this, and the king was loudly laughing because this thing. Because Juha said, I'm not invited to this party, my clothes are invited. So this is the end of the story, but it doesn't end. Why? Because we can get from it a moral. What is it? Don't judge a book by its cover, and sometimes appearance misleading. And you know, like today, like you say, the way you wear your clothes, the way you reflect who you are, and the way you speak, you reflect to people who you are. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, this is the first one. Move on to next one. Next one is a short one, okay? Because I don't believe a short story, a long story. It's all about, you can say, the meaning, the wisdom, and the deep meaning can a story, I can say, give us or can get from it. So this story is about, you can say, a clone. His name, Kafka. So this clone was spreading happiness, joy, merriment, jolliness, everything in that tribe, and everybody, I guess, it was feeling happy when I guess showed the performance of the Mr. Kafka. Mr. Kafka was a philosopher, was everything in life because I guess failing in everything in love, in relationship, in setting up a family, everything except succeeding and in kidding and joking and sarcasm, and that's lead people loving him. So everyone in that tribe, when he suffered from a disease or a problem or something, he went to a doctor. Each doctor in that center of that town or that tribe, the first thing said to the patient, what's the problem with you? They say, I'm suffering from, for example, diaphragm, I'm suffering from this stomach, some headache, etc. And the doctor said, really, I'm a doctor, but I think your case needs a doctor, another doctor, which is Mr. Kafka. Mr. Kafka, doctor, and everyone directed his tips to meet Mr. Kafka. Mr. Kafka, by his mask, by by his tricky things, by his laughable stuffs like this, people healing from everything. So that's repeated many times, several times, and until a time, Mr. Kafka went to the same doctor, but this time without a mask. And the doctor asked Mr. Kafka, what are you suffering from? Kafka said, my problem is a disease, which is life. I suffer from life. How? I suffer from life because life is full of, many troubles, many problems. Painkillers can't do nothing to me. So that's what I heard about you, Mr. Van. So the doctor said, without hesitation, so for your case, I advise you, I suggest to go to meet a person can heal you, or who is Mr. Kafka. And the doctor, stared Mr. Kafka, crying, weeping silently, and he, emotionally, emotionally, yeah, it's kind of sympathize with Mr. Kafka. Why the reason which you, shedding tears, say, so listen, I know about all what you did during all this time because you informed everyone, every patient came to you to go to another doctor, which is Mr. Kafka. But this time, I don't think will be successful because I am the person you guide people to him. And the doctor was actually shocked, and the story ended like this. So what can I get from this is, if you see someone laughing or someone singing or dancing, doesn't mean he is glad or joyful, because don't turn.
Oh, you've frozen, Kamal, on the punchline. But wonderful stories, wonderful stories.
Kamal's
Juha.
story was too much for the camera.
And Juha, I know Juha is one of your favorite characters. And but it's the first time I've heard of Dr. Kafka. So thank you.
They're back.
How much of that story did you catch, John? I think we had some tech problems in the end.
Well, we heard it all on apart from the very last line. We heard it all, but what we missed was the lesson from the story is just because someone's laughing and singing doesn't mean to say they're happy inside.
Yes.
And he did one line after that which we didn't catch. But I think that was it. And Mike Patsy's just put up that it's like Nasruddin. Juha is the Moroccan equivalent of Nasruddin. And and I've also, and I can't remember his name, I've just found an Afghan character that is exactly the same. And so those stories, those little stories happen throughout the Middle East and as far west as the former Yugoslavia. And now, of course, with the international storytelling that goes on all over, and the books and everything else, and the influence of people like Idris Shah, the Nasruddin stories are heard all over the world, and Juha through Kamal will be, because he is the champion of Juha. So thank you for that, and thank you everyone in the cafe. Thank you for being with us tonight. It's been a great night. Thank you, Apurva. You set the scene with your story of your story. You set the theme for tonight. And what I'm liking about Tuesday nights is that they're so different every time it comes on, because I mean, it wasn't all young storytellers tonight, but usually it is, and you all influence each other. Jasname will probably be with us back next week. She's been in the UK. She's been traveling back, and she's probably very tired now. She's probably recovering from her journeys. But it's all magnificent. So thank you very much, everybody. Thank you, Kamal, for your stories. Thank you, Mike and Lucy. Thank you, in the cafe. Our next show is Friday, 6 o'clock in the evening UK time, with Sarah Lloyd Winder, magnificent storyteller. She'll be telling stories for children, and then we're back to Tuesday again. So for now, good night, Baba C, good night, Mike, good night, Lucy, everybody at the cafe. Let's have a wave from everyone in the cafe.
Good night.
Yeah, now the back row waving. They're trying to get Kamal to bring them food and things. They want more of that fabulous vegan food there. But let's have a wave from everyone.
Good night. Thank you, everybody. Thank you, Apurva. That was amazing.
Good afternoon. Take care, everybody. Thank you, cafe. Thank you, cafe. Thank you, cafe. And thank you, Ali, for the magic carpet ride.
Yes, Ali is the king. Is our chief pilot of the magic carpet. Okay.
All good.
Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye. Enjoy.
Bye-bye.
Till the next time. To be continued.